So starting from the top, little daylight between the fingers. Okay, we don't want them clamped, we don't want them spread too far apart. Little daylight between the fingers. I'm trying to pull with the palm and the forearm, remember. Both are involved when in terms of popping the elbow out, pivoting at the elbow, and turning that forearm, fingertip to elbow, into a pulling position that can be beneficial to help us go forwards. Okay, so for now, for this last minute, just focus on the arms. Focus on the arms. Remember, if you are standing upright, just sort of reverse all of these things when I do get them mixed up. Obviously, if I were swimming, I'd be talking about an early vertical forearm. If you're standing upright with your stretch cords, obviously we want an early horizontal forearm. Sometimes I'll mix those two up, but you know what I mean. Okay, so early vertical forearm helps you send the water back towards the feet nice and early. What it also really does is create a lot more surface area. So it's harder to pull that through the water. And what happens, as long as the body is nice and streamlined, you will move forwards and you will leave the arm, the hand behind as you travel forwards and over. A little bit like a kayak would shoot forwards over that anchored paddle. Okay, all right, in 3, 2, 1, let's reverse and switch to some backstroke. Whether you've got cords that do this or whether you've got some light dumbbells or nothing at all, just switch into some backstroke. We're going to reverse the movement. We're still trying to switch the shoulders from side to side, completely mimicking the full stroke front crawl body position. The two are interchangeable and really complement each other. Okay, try to pivot again. It's all good practice pivoting so that you use the forearm to help send the water towards the feet, just like you would on front crawl. Pivot at the elbow as that upper arm just brushes by the ear. Little finger enters first, head is kept nice and still. Okay, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fantastic. Spin them forwards back onto the front crawl, back onto full stroke front crawl. I'm going to work on some breathing pattern work in a moment. Okay, so if you missed the intro, the pattern is we did a 5-minute warm up into a minute of backstroke. We've got 4 minutes working on our breathing, back to a minute of backstroke. 3 minutes keeping the head still and working on our rotation. But this time the teaching points are going to happen within full stroke. We're not going to break things down into drills today. It's going to be within, we're going to work on the pull, we're going to work on the hips, the back of the stroke, all within the full stroke. Okay, so pretty simple today. It's either front crawl or it's backstroke. All right, and if you can absorb some of these points, make some changes. I don't know if anyone's had a chance to hit the lakes yet, get into the water. If their stroke has felt okay from doing these, that would be wonderful to hear. Good, good. There's a minute down already, So let's go. I'm going 3 breaths to the right, 3 breaths to the right. And then I'm going to take my little switching couple of strokes, 3 breaths to the left, 3 breaths to the left. If you're happy just to stay where you are, you've got enough on your plate, just focusing on the arms and the hips and everything else, just stick with where you are. If we can, add in some breathing, 3 to the right. And as we have discussed previously, the important thing is when that head's turning, I'm still trying to catch, I'm still trying to pivot the elbow. Don't get lazy and lean on that straight arm push down, which will bounce you along, but not drive you forwards. Okay, let's go back. 3 to the right. 3 to the left. Fantastic. Focusing on that pivot, focusing on that pivot. So if I'm breathing to the left, it's so vital that that right arm still engages, catches, and sends the water backwards rather than down. Good stuff. Okay, let's go 2 to the right. Then I'm going to keep it still for a couple. 2 to the right. All the while, I'm trying to time this so that as the hand travels under the eyes, I'm then in motion turning to the side. Don't leave it too late. Don't get bunched up under the arm and then have that momentum carried and swing the arm across as the head sort of throws it around. You want to try to keep the head, think of the head as a sort of almost a separate unit, you know, regardless of what the arms are doing, well, but regardless of what stage the arms are at, you know, the head should not impact, should not change. If you're not breathing, the arms do something. If you are breathing, the arms should still do the same thing. There should not be any changes to your stroke. Take a very small, independent, quick breath. Get the head back into its neutral position quickly. Some people talk about trickling the air out under the water. That's not a bad thing. Just stops the tension building up in the lungs. Just let it trickle out. And then as soon as you get that chance to turn to the side, nice deep intake. And it needs to be quite quick. If you were in a kayak next to an elite swimmer, you'd really hear that as they suck that air down. It's not sort of a gentle movement. They really sort of working hard. You can hear the air being inhaled. Last 20 seconds before we go back to our backstroke. If we're feeling warmed up, maybe you can take a step backwards or a lower down or a step if you're in a stairwell like I am, just to put a little bit of tension on. Okay, nothing too aggressive today. We are talking technique, even though we aren't swimming any other drills. In 3, 2, 1, good work. I'm gonna switch into some normal backstroke without my cords now. Okay. Keep the hands at 180. So important that the hands are at 180 to each other. Okay. Front crawl, you've got a few different options with your timing, but backstroke, the stroke really only works if the hands are kept opposite each other. Little finger first on the entry, pivot the elbow, try to stay narrow, try to keep the hands quite close to the sides of the body. Try to palm the water towards the feet as early as you can. And that's going to work and help your backstroke as well. So good that if you could mix up some more backstroke into your training to keep the shoulders healthy. Finding propulsion out of different methods, different movements is only going to help your front crawl as well. 3, 2, 1, good start. Back onto our cords, back onto our full stroke, please. I'm going to drop down a stair. 3 minutes now, 3 minutes. So we're going to look at rotation. We're going to look at rotation on this block. With every stroke, I'm trying to feel the shoulder come through towards the chin to give me that extension, to get me that good amount of pull, and to try to bring this trailing shoulder above the surface. That enables me to get the breath in, okay? If I stay flat, and there's no rotation through the shoulders, I'm going to struggle to get that breath because the shoulder is low and it's blocking. Okay, so switching from side to side. Front crawl, there's a brief moment when the shoulders sort of pass through a flat position, but really it should just be you should be traveling through. You don't want to ever stay here. Okay, that's going to shorten the stroke. It's going to impact your breathing. So try to bring the shoulder through into the chin, but you must keep the head still. You must keep the head still. If the head is sort of part of that movement, you can easily add distance. You can easily add a sort of a sideways wiggle into things and not help at all. Let the hips follow. Remember, the hips are not going to stay motionless while the upper body does all the work. The important thing is that the kick stays hidden. It doesn't splay out behind the hips. Okay. Think about your streamline. You want to stay hidden. Obviously, if I was being filmed from above, I'd see the top of the head. I'd see the arms pulling under the body. Ideally, I wouldn't see the legs appearing above or below. Okay. If you're a bit taller, that might not quite work, but you get the point. Okay. There's no odd bits sticking out the side of a kayak. It's all nice and flush, nice and fluid. And we should be the same. Keep the legs hidden. Keep the toes pointed. No unnecessary surfaces making you work harder, dragging more of you through the water. Whereas if you could work on your streamline, the arms would have the easiest possible time. Good, good, good. So we're rotating on this block. We're rotating, switching from side to side. Last 20 seconds, last 20 seconds, 25 seconds. Here we go. And if the hips are rolling from side to side, you can keep the hands pulling central for a lot longer than you might have imagined. Track the hand under the backbone, and that hip at the back of the stroke is just going to lift out of the way. Just roll out of the way. So you can keep the hand pulling central, keeping you swimming straighter for that little bit longer. In 3, 2, 1, fantastic. Roll into some recovery backstroke, recovery backstroke. Head nice and still. Wonderful stuff. Just as we were, switching the shoulders from side to side. Upper arm is just brushing past the ear, little finger enters first. Pivot, open out the forearm so you can stay nice and narrow. You can spot someone swimming backstroke with a straight arm from the surface quite easy. As they go straight, they just literally shift from side to side, okay? If you're new to backstroke, a very simple drill you can do is literally hold onto the lane rope and pull yourself along. And if you stay close to the lane rope, with the hand, with the fingers just sort of held between some of those discs, it will encourage you to pivot the elbow at the right place and finish through. Good, good, good. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spin it forwards, spin it forwards. Let's go. Back on the full stroke front crawl. So now we're working at the back of the stroke. So if the hips are working well, they should give us the opportunity to finish the stroke nice and long, but also we need the endurance, which is why on these stretch cords I've been encouraging you to, occasionally take a step backwards, drop down a stair, add a little bit of tension to the cords so that you are working the triceps, which, are really, it's an isolated part of the stroke. Swimmers generally don't have to be that strong to swim fast, but you need the endurance to repeat movements over and over again. It's interesting, when you see sort of like a dryland competition, I don't know if anyone remembers something called Superstars. The swimmers generally were pretty, not so good on dry land, but one thing they really were good at were anything that involved the triceps. And that competition was famed for the dips bar. And the swimmers generally would do really well where they just had such strong triceps to keep on finishing at the back of the stroke. So work on your cords, work on your narrow press ups, any kind of tricep movement, and that's going to give you the endurance to keep making this long stroke repeat over and over again. Don't get lazy and finish at the hips. The hips are too high, okay? You can go beyond the hips as long as they are shifting from side to side. Last 15 seconds, last 15 seconds. Well done, everybody. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and relax. Spin it back, spin it backwards. With your light dumbbells, with your tins of beans, with nothing, or with your cords, whatever you need, whatever you need. Just take a breather, reverse the movement, focus on keeping the head nice and still. That's good elbow pivoting, Hillary. I can see that from here. That's excellent, excellent. Really nice, staying nice and narrow. Halfway through. Get the breathing under control. Reverse the movement. Hello, have you come to watch? we got some spectators on the stairs. Do you need to get by? No, it's okay. All right, 15 seconds, 15 seconds. Are you clapping? Are you clapping? In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, spin it forward, spin it forwards. 1 minute, please, 1 minute. Early pivot. Pop the elbow out wide to keep the hand central, to get the forearm involved. you see these cords? This is what they're designed for, not for you sticking in your mouth, Midland. This is what we actually use them for. Yeah? Did you know that this is what they were for? Okay, keep the pressure up. If you can add a little bit of pace, that's fine, but don't stress. The back half of this is going to be a little bit stronger effort where I'm going to encourage you, not tell you, but encourage you to maybe take another step backwards. Just work on pulling with the forearm. As we're getting a little bit tired now, make sure the technique is there. Don't let that disintegrate. Don't let it fade. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good stuff. Okay, take a breather, shake it out, shake it out. Okay, if you can, let's try some double arm backstroke. If you've got the space, okay, keep the upper body nice and still. Remember to try to enter with the little fingers first. Try to keep the upper arms close to the ears and then stretch through. That's a wonderful stretch on the chest, through the shoulders. Nothing better to finish a pull-based swim session with. Add your pull buoy so you don't have to worry about the legs, but this movement is absolutely fantastic. Good stuff, good stuff. Double arm backstroke will really help. Reverse all the movements, unwind, stretch it out, slow it down. In 10, 9, 8, 7. Good, last one. Good deep stretch, excellent. Here we go, back on the cords please, back on the cords. With that submerged recovery, always with the submerged, even if the way you've got your cord set up, you could do a surface recovery. I don't think it's the best way with the cords. You know, if you want to pivot at the waist, do a little bit of surface recovery front cord with some very light dumbbells. But for this longest, more intense efforts, keep the recovery submerged. So you're just literally pinging the arms backwards and forwards under the body. So we'll go on to our 2 minutes as we go back up the other side now. 2 minutes, looking for a little bit more effort, maybe speed it up. But all of those teaching points, don't let them disappear. Don't let them disappear. The triceps might be a little bit fatigued, but don't let that stroke finish early. I would prefer you took a step forwards and got the technique there, rather than sort of shorten the stroke and kid yourself. Oh, look at me, I'm miles away from where my cords are tethered. I'm doing really good work. No, this stroke doesn't want to suffer as a consequence of your positioning, okay? Keep the head nice and still unless you are turning to breathe. Let's put a little bit of motion in, work on your catch. We just talked about the early pivot, that horizontal forearm since we're standing upright. Work on your catch. If you can add a good catch position every time you breathe, imagine how much quicker you would be. Every breathing cycle pulls you forwards, like so, rather than bounces you up and pretty much being wasted. Last 15 seconds, we're nearly there. We're nearly there. So only a couple more efforts really, but obviously they are quite big. So let's not get carried away just yet. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Nice and easy. Stay on the cords if you can. Add your dumbbells if you want, or nothing at all if the arms are screaming. Just kind of use this to slow it down, get the breathing under control. If nothing else from all of these dryland stretch cord sessions, if you've figured out how to do backstroke, I would consider that a major accomplishment. And if you can add that into your training, wonderful. Head nice and still, switching from side to side. Head nice and still. So important to try to keep the head still. And also slightly up. Bring the chin up a fraction. That will impact your body position and keep the hips up. Often, sort of you see with new swimmers, the chin sinks and then the hips sink. Okay, so if you feel your body position is struggling, keep that in mind. 3, 2, 1, spin it forwards. Here we go. Build the pace. Start steady this first minute. Middle minute is going to get a little bit livelier. And then the last minute, the third minute, We're going to take a step back. Okay. Work on the symmetry, same speed, keeping the hands at 180 to each other. The same trajectory, try to mirror. If the left elbow is at 90 degrees, the right elbow should be at 90 degrees, but don't stress too much about numbers. Just use your mirror or your laptop, whatever you're using, just try to look and keep those the same speed, the same angles, the same pathways. Don't go wide with one, central with the other. That's not going to keep you swimming straight, is it? Good work. Okay, coming up on that first minute, can we pick up the pace? Pick up the pace a little bit. 3, 2, 1, and let's go a little bit faster. Second minute. On this third minute, we're going to count the number of strokes we take, but don't shorten them just to get a higher number. All we want is a little reference, okay? Let's just count them, get a number. Obviously, this doesn't really have any relevance to what you do in the water, but it's just going to give us a little bit of an aim for later blocks. Add a little bit of breathing so we don't forget about our catch position. I'm going to go into a traditional breathing every third, a bilateral breathing position. I quite like racing longer distances like this. In the pool, I try to train like this so I get the benefits. Just stop the bad habits from becoming too ingrained. Okay, how many strokes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Halfway. Last 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and relax and spin it out. Relax and spin it out. Did we get a number? Don't panic if you didn't. All we're going to do is compare that to the end, the last minute on the 4, and then the last minute on the 5, just to sort of see how we were doing. I think mine was about the same as a few weeks ago, so hopefully making some progress. And I can add a couple more in, but I was more pleased that my left arm is starting to pivot a little bit earlier. I was noticing it was sort of leading with the elbow a few weeks ago. So I've been trying to improve things. Hopefully going to get in the water this week and see how it's all going. Okay, so 20 seconds to go. Nice and relaxed, nice and easy with the backstroke. We've got the 4 minutes into our backstroke and then a 5 to wrap it up, Maybe if we're running out of time, we'll put the fast minute at the start of the 5 and then use the rest as a cool down. In 3, 2, 1, here we go. Start steady and build it up again. Start steady and build it up. Don't let this become a sloppy swim down. You still want the accuracy. Run your little diagnostic. Is there a gap between the fingers? Am I keeping the wrist quite firm? Not the easiest thing with these sort of wraparound handles, but if you've got a full paddle, you might be able to do a better job than I am here. So quite firm through the wrist. Fingertips to elbows, that pulling blade, that's in one unit as far and as for as long as you can go. Trying to bring the hand under the backbone on top of that black line. If we were in the pool, remember. Trying to finish long past the hips. Keeping the head nice and still. I'm going to add in that bilateral breathing pattern again. Every third stroke, stop the bad habits creeping in, constantly switching from side to side so no one side becomes too dominant. Make it 2 to the left. Remember, you've got to keep this comfortable when you're in the pool. And if you suddenly switch to every third, it's going to be a lot less air during the course of the length than every second. So why not take a breath every second or third to keep the air coming in, and then it's less impact when you take a couple of strokes to switch across to the other side. 4 to the right. That should feel like you've got a good amount of recovery in, some good air into the lungs, and then we switch 4 to the left, 4 to the left. And that's a good pattern I like for long distance, steadier events, or not really racing, but I want to mix sides, keep the air coming in, maybe keep an eye on the opposition around, watch, cover any breaks that might be happening. There's the Zoom reminding me to upgrade. Well, I promise I'll do it soon. I'll do it soon. Not just yet. Not just yet. Okay. We have about 90 seconds to go. Let's start to build up the pace. We're going to count in about 25 seconds. We're going to count again. And let's try to add a couple of strokes, but don't shorten them just for the sake of adding them. Okay? 15 seconds. 15 seconds. Let's try to squeeze a couple more in. If the stroke count goes up massively, maybe we will readjust. In 3, 2, 1, let's go. Don't forget your rotation. Don't shorten it. Don't shorten it. Keep it long. "15 seconds gone. Halfway, halfway. Reach for the knees. Don't shorten it. Don't shorten it. Last 15. We're nearly there. In 3, 2, 1, and relax. Spin it out. Spin it out. Nice, easy recovery. Really slow this one down. Just got the 5 minutes to go. Just got the 5 minutes to go. Maybe we will build from 1 to 3, get a stroke count on that third one, and then we'll use 4 and 5 as our swim down. There's no doubt. We'll almost be out of time. Okay? We'll work towards that. Enjoy this recovery. Get the breathing under control. Reverse the movement. Stay narrow. Imagine you've got the lane ropes either side of you, half the normal width, and you're just trying to stay nice and cozy inside that narrow lane rope. I've got some really cool footage where a coach actually did that. He sort of halved the width of his lane ropes just to keep his swimming narrow. It's quite cool to watch. If you want to have a look at that, let me know. In 3, 2, 1, here we go. Back on the full stroke, back on the full stroke. Start steady, don't let it become a sloppy swim down. Build the pace slowly as we build towards that fast third minute out of these 5, and then we'll use the last 2 to swim it down. Okay. Get the length back in. If your number went up, if you squeeze a couple more in and you're feeling good, by all means, take a step back. If the arms are screaming and you felt like the number stayed up or improved because you were shortening, maybe take a step forwards, okay? Couple of options. Add in some breathing. 3 to the left. 3 to the right. 3 to the left. 3 to the right. That's a minute gone. That's a minute gone. Pick up the pace a little bit. Decide whether you want to be a step forwards or a step further back. Or if you're happy, just stay where you are. It's no problem. Remember, we must pull with the forearm, fingertips to elbow. If you can learn that on these dry land stretch cords, that would be amazing as you get ready to go back into the water. Last 20 seconds. For me, I'm going to try to break 80. I'm going to try to break 80. Doesn't matter what number you're at, just try to add a couple, add a couple. Good work, everyone. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and here we go. Fast minute, fast minute. Work it, work it. Don't shorten it though, don't shorten it. Keep the length. Switching from side to side. Fast arms, fast arms. There's a quarter done, 1/4 done. Halfway, everyone. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fantastic. Stay on the front crawl. Stay on the front crawl. We've still got 2 minutes. Just ease it back a little bit. Keep the length. Keep the tension there. Take a step back if you can. Just slow it down. Get the accuracy there. Keep it going. Add in some breathing. Often on those fast ones, we're focused on so many things. We forget about adding in some breathing. So try to bring that back. Try to work on switching from side to side, breathing every third, keeping the head still unless it is turning to breathe. Good work, everyone. Good, good. That's a minute down. 1 more minute to go before we'll do our double arm backstroke to finish it off. Okay, another minute. Keep it nice and steady. Keep the accuracy there. Use the triceps. We talked about them earlier. The strength of the tricep to keep finishing the stroke. Keep it long at the back. Keep the palm pushing water towards the back of the stroke for as long as you can before you sort of drift in and recover that. Don't palm the water up to sink the hips. That's something that can affect your body position massively. Possibly not so much with a wetsuit. The buoyancy will cover that little sin. But again, it was an opportunity to go forwards. And instead, you sort of used it to not really put the brakes on, but just kind of affect your body position a little bit. Well done, everyone. Last 10, 9, 8, 7, and well done. Spin it backstroke, spin it backstroke. If it's comfortable, if it's convenient, drop the paddles. Let's do a double arm. Okay, really slowly stretch those out. My goodness, my shoulders are aching. Hopefully yours aren't too bad. Good, that's coming up on about 38-minute main set. That is good, solid work. Have a good stretch once we've done this. Rest well. Enjoy your swim if you're going to get out to a lake soon, or any of the, if you're overseas, Bab, I think your pool's opening, isn't it? Over in Munich, that must be nice. Well done. Little fingers first on the entry. Try to keep the upper arms close to the ears. Imagine you're in the water. You've got a pull buoy keeping the hips up. Stretching through. Pivot with the elbows. Use the palm. Use the forearm to push the water towards the feet. Well done, everyone. Excellent, excellent, excellent.